as such. But what Iqbal is saying is science was based on a concept of nature as inanimate matter which follows mechanistic laws of motion, and that concept of nature is incompatible with an interest to a concept of nature as creative, continuous creative flow. But science's own internal problem, as well as critique of philosophers like Berkeley, helped to deconstruct the notion of such materialism, yeah. And science's own development, which are somehow reflected in Whitehead's concept of process reality, or a concept of creative, continuous, overflowing nature. So that shows that science actually agrees with Berkeley now. Berkeley's criticism is once regarded as attack on its very foundation. Thus, we see how modern science utters disagreement. But what Whitehead has to do with modern science is very hard to understand. But he's not a scientist at all. He was a mathematician and then turned into philosophy. He did write books on philosophy of science, but that doesn't make him scientist. And his view of science is just one version of what science is, and that is surely not the view of practicing scientists or physicists, or not majority of them, or wasn't the view of the majority of them. Or I would hazard that it's not the view of the majority of them even today. So it doesn't make much sense as regard to science, but it does make sense as regard to Iqbal's conception of science and Iqbal's conception of nature and Iqbal's criticism of Newtonian physics, etc. So here we should read it as the fact that Iqbal thinks there is a view of nature based on Newtonian physics, which is incompatible with his version of modernist Islamic religious worldview. But he sees, and that the science was based on. And science for him is important because science is, remember, essentially bequeathed to, or given to the world by Muslims, and basically was inspired by the Quran, according to him. So it is his, for him, it is important that science should be presented in the way which is compatible with his vision of what Islam and Quran are saying. And so he sees a new philosophy of nature as a continuous creative overflow, as propounded by Whitehead and Hegel, and which for him is seconded by or confirmed by new physics as practiced by Einstein and quantum physics and all those things. And since the old science was and its conception of matter was criticized by Berkeley, and since Berkeley's conception of matter is compatible with and close to Iqbal's own notion of matter as continuous creative overflow, Berkeley becomes his ally against his supposed old science and in favor of supposed new physics. So the basic thing is this conception of nature, which is apparently compatible with the Islamic worldview. So these are Allama Iqbal's intention there, or his overarching purpose. So that's how I think we should read this, rather than telling us anything about science or nature or Whitehead or Berkeley, etc. as such. So basically we just charted the same thing which we had already done, and we stopped at the same place, but with a more, I think, with a better handle on what was going on. So we'll stop here, and next time we'll start from the scientific of nature's pure materiality is. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك وصلي وسلم على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وذريته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين آمين.